If your last month's commission check was anywhere under $10,000, call that and throw everything you know about closing out the window. Breaking that 10K a month by memorizing that reframe from your favorite sales guru, waking up at 4 a.m., getting a cold shower, or testing every sales script you find on the internet is a great way to keep running on the 5K a month hamster wheel, which I'm sure you don't want to do that. But what does get you past 10K a month isn't actually that hard to find. In fact, it's been in front of you this whole fucking time. My name is Itai. I've consistently closed over 20K a month in high ticket sales. I've hit the top of my leaderboard month after month after month. And what I'm about to teach you is $80,000 worth of sales mentorships that I've invested in with my own money, which I've decided to give all you f***ers for free. It's the foundation at which every single one of your sales calls have been and will be built on. Not a script, not a bunch of analogies, it's your sales framework. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you my step-by-step thought process that can allow you to create your own sales framework that will come from your own mind, which means you can deliver it in your words, not mine. What I'm going to be going over is the correct way of thinking, the ability to actively listen and be curious, and how to identity shift and pre-handle all objections. And because I'm teaching you that, you will be able to steal it, implement it in your next sales calls. So pay close attention, and I promise you, you will start closing more deals as soon as you implement it. So let's go, let's get started. This is the framework that has made me over $400,000 in the last 2 years of closing. Now, why did I make this framework? Why am I giving it to you guys? Well, I made it because I always say that I don't believe in scripts and I don't believe in one specific way of leading a sales call. There's a million different ways we can do it. What I've noticed though is there is a certain structure that I like to follow on my calls. And when I have the structure in mind, when I have it pretty much memorized in the back of my head, I know exactly where I want the call to go, where I want to take it. But how I'm going to deliver it, that I have no idea until I take the call. How I'm going to say what I'm going to say, that is going to come up on the spot because I'm fully present in my calls. I'm able to listen to everything the prospect is saying, not saying, how they breathe, when they laugh, all these different things that a lot of people don't pick up on, simply because I know where I'm taking the call, where I want to lead it to, and how we're going to get it to the lovely Piff. Yeah? So now, how do I know this works? Well, I use it. I've collected millions and millions of dollars using this framework. Now, over time, it didn't look like this. I've actually been in different, so I've been in different mentorships. Each one taught it differently. Each one had some things that I took from it, some things that I didn't. And I basically just made it my own. I made it what I found to be the best fitting for me in my calls, what was most helpful for me, what made me feel like I was doing the most efficient way of closing a deal, getting to the pitch by minute 20, 25, closing it by minute 40, ideally. That is like best case scenario. And this also makes closing fun. When you don't know how a call is exactly going to go and what you're going to say, it makes it mysterious. It makes it exciting because anything could happen. You could come up with something on the spot on a call and it lands and you feel great. Or there's like an analogy and you're like, oh, this would be a great time to use it. And then you use it and it also hits. So there's a bunch of different things that make these calls exciting. And one of the things that always makes it exciting is knowing that you're leveling up, you're testing new things, you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're doing things that you're not used to doing on your calls. So this is exactly what this framework is for, okay? From all the guys, all the mentorships I've been in, this is what I found to be the most efficient, honestly, one of the most beneficial things that you can have in your sales process. Now, how do I want you to use this? What I don't want you to do is have this pulled up on your screen while you're on your call and you're going through it and you're like, okay, I did this. Okay, I did this. Now I have to ask this. Now I have to ask this. Now I have to, I don't want you doing all that. Why? Because this is going to take your focus away from your prospects. You are not going to be present in your calls. This is honestly just as bad as reading off a script, if not worse. Yeah, because at least the script tells you what to say. Here, I don't exactly tell you what to say. I let you come up with your own words and your own ideas. So what I don't want you to do is pull it up on your calls and read off of it and see where you're at. What I want you to do instead, and how to make the most of this is the only way this will work, by the way. If you're not doing it this way, it's not going to work. So if you're not going to do it right, don't even bother. The way I want you to use this framework that I made is memorize it. Memorize all the yellow parts here, okay? This is where you want to lead the call. This is where you want to take the call, where it should go. All right. I even put arrows, made it very easy for you guys to understand. It's not complicated. So this is what I want you to memorize as to where you should be taking the call. Okay. This is the direction it should go in. Now, once you memorize it and you have it in the back of your head, front to back, you know exactly what to do after a certain part in the call, when you should do this, when you should do that. How you deliver it is not going to be my words. It's going to be your own words. That is the best part about this. I am not giving you a script. I am not giving you word tracks. All of your words, everything that will be said on your calls is going to come straight from your heart, your mind, your chest. It's all going to come from you, not from me. Okay? That is how you're going to sound different. That is how you're going to be able to close on any offer at any price point, talking to any kind of prospect, is being able to be a universal closer, not a one-dimensional closer that only has to do things one way or else it doesn't work. You understand? So that's how I want you to use it. So if you're going to use it that way, or don't fucking use it at all. Okay? Now that we got that out of the way, let me break this down from top to bottom, why everything is in order the way that it is, what you should be doing at a certain point, why this goes after this, all that stuff. Okay? So drink water. Okay. So when we open up the call, there's 3 sections here. So there's intro discovery, then there's the mid discovery, which is limiting beliefs, and then is the identity shifting, and then we pitch. Yeah. So in intro discovery, this is going to be your first 5 to 10 minutes of your call. This, I like to say, is definitely the most important part of your sales call. And the reason why is because if this is not sharp, if this is not down to a fucking T, okay, mid discovery is going to be difficult. You're going to have bad answers, bad questions. You're going to feel stuck at some point. If that's weak, well, guess what else is also going to be weak? Identity shifting, pitch, all this stuff, consequence, future pace, none of it's going to work. Yeah. So what I've seen with my guys and my one-on-one students is when they've gotten very, very good at this section, everything else here became much easier for them. They got good at it on their own. I didn't even have to walk them through these parts as much as I did here. So let's focus on this first, because if we don't do this right, forget any of this even exists. Yeah. So where we start off with the intro discovery. The first thing I want to get to know about my prospects is, what is the end outcome they're looking to accomplish? What are they needing to achieve by the end of this call, when they sign up, when they're in the program, what they want to achieve there. Okay. That is important for me to know. Now, the way to ask this, there's a bunch of different ways to ask this. Okay. Where we want to lead it to is to get answers somewhat like this. I don't know why this is fucking cut off, but typically when we'll ask what their goal is, we're going to get answers like freedom, flexibility, free up time, provide, reach higher levels. They could tell you anything somewhere in this scope. Okay. So the way I like to ask this is, in your opinion, what's the biggest reason you're looking to make money with XYZ solution? Or what is your motivation behind wanting to get into AI right now? Yeah. When we ask these kind of questions, this will give us answers like these. Okay. Now, one of my mentors taught me to ask, what's the biggest reason you want to make money through the solution? The reason why he does that is because it takes away the prospect saying, well, I just want to make money. I just want to make more money. Well, yeah. Well, why do you want to make more money? Aside from the ones and zeros, why do you want to make more money? So that just takes that part away and it gets us straight into one of these answers. Okay. So in your opinion, what's the biggest reason you are looking to make money with XYZ solution, which is the program you're selling? And then they'll tell you one of these answers, something in the range of this. It doesn't have to be the exact words, but whatever they tell you, whether it's freedom, free up time, provide, reach higher levels, now we want to get clarity on this. Okay. Clarity is very, very, very important, because these words can mean a million different things to a million different people. They do not just have one definition. So there's a million different ways we can define these words. Yeah. So that's why I like to get extreme clarity on what they mean. And I'll tell you why in a second. So some different questions you can ask. What does freedom mean to you? Or what does flexibility mean to you? What does providing mean to you? Right? What's behind you wanting to free up more time? Or if they say, for whatever reason, I want to reach higher levels, or I want to reach my potential. What higher levels are you aiming to reach? Now what they're going to do is they're going to explain exactly what these words mean. Yeah. And that'll give us a lot more clarity on what it is that they want and what it is that they don't have, right? People want things that they don't have. So that'll give us both sides of it. Now you'll see why that's important. So once we get clarity on these words, and by the way, it doesn't have to be like specifically these words. Yeah, whatever it is that they tell you, that's what I want you like filling in the blank for these questions. That's very important. Okay. So now when they give us clarity on what these words mean to them, now we want to figure out why their current situation isn't serving them. Okay, so that's also important. The reason why this gives us clarity is this helps us widen the gap as to what it is that they're lacking, why it's not serving them, why it's not serving their future, why it's not serving how they want to live, all those things. Yeah. When we understand it, it spreads the gap. It prevents them from telling us bullshit answers like, I'm doing okay, everything is going great, there's nothing I want to fix, I'm doing just fine, I don't need help, I'm just shopping around, I'm just looking what you guys can do. This takes all of that away. Okay? So this inevitably pre-handles that. So there's, again, a million different ways you can ask this. I give you a few different examples on how I ask it on my calls. So let's say they tell us what freedom means to them. Cool. So where do you feel like you lack that freedom? Or where do you feel like you lack that flexibility? Or where do you feel like you lack that ability to provide? Now, it's most likely not going to sound like this because by this point, they would have already given us clarity on what these words mean. So what I would encourage you to do is include their response in your question. So for example, if they say freedom to them means, I want to be able to, I want to be able to support my kids. I want to make sure that when they go to college, they don't have to pay for it. And what else? I want to spend more time with my wife. Yeah. So some different questions I can ask is, well, where do you feel like you lack that ability to spend more time with your wife? Or where do you feel like you lack that ability to make sure your kid's college tuition is paid for? Or where do you feel like you lack that ability to do whatever you want, however you want? And then they will probe and clarify even more. They will give us more info, more data, more things that can help us in this conversation. So now that they're going in depth, and they were most likely going to go into, if you do this right, they're going to go into detail and give you more than what you need. Okay, this is where your prospects start to open up to you more. You just get more and more clarity. And you do not move on until you get clarity. If you don't get clarity on what this means, don't ask this question. If you don't get clarity on this, you can't even ask this question. They all go hand in hand. Okay, so now that they've told us how their current situation isn't serving them, what we want to figure out is now the time frame. The time frame is going to be one of the most important parts of the call. The reason why this is important is because when we know exactly how long the prospect has been stuck in their current situation for, or how long they've been wanting to reach their goals for, we can now use that as leverage to then challenge them on why it hasn't happened, or what's gotten in their way of changing it, what's gotten in their way of fixing it. That's going to be very, very important. So there's two different ways we can get the time frame. All right. Now, the reason why this question is important is because if you do not get a clear time frame, you're going to get wishy-washy answers. It's going to be hard for you to challenge them. They might give you a very short time frame, and you can still challenge people on short time frames, but it becomes a lot harder to do it. So let's make it easy when it doesn't need to be difficult. So now, for the time frame questions, as you see, I made a positive section and a negative section. Now, the reason why there's two different sections is because sometimes in your calls, you will be more talking about the prospect's goals and where they want to get to, what they want to achieve. Other times, though, leading up to this part, and most of the time for me, my conversations are in the negatives. Since right before it, I like to go into why their current situation isn't serving them. So for example, if you and your prospects are just talking about their goals, where they want to be, and that is what the conversation is focused on, then make your time frame question a positive question. How long have you been wanting to buy back your time or your freedom or your flexibility? Okay. Now it's not going to be these words said in your sentences. It's going to be what they told you. So whatever this means to them, that's what I want you to include in your question. Or how long have you been wanting to change that for? Yeah, it's like wanting. That's why it's positive questions. This is what they want. Now, if you are in the negatives, meaning you were talking about how they are lacking a certain thing, like they're lacking freedom, they're not able to do something, there's something about their current situation isn't the way they want it to be. A great time frame question would be, well, how long has it been that way for? Or when did you first feel that you lacked your goal? Or how long have you felt this way for? Yeah. So these are different questions I like to ask on my calls. When I ask these specific questions, I will get specific timeframes. They will tell me 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. I won't get wishy-washy BS answers like it's always been that way. Or even if they do tell me that, I can clarify what always means. How long is always? Yeah. This now makes it super, super easy for me to get into this section and get straight into the limiting beliefs. By this point, 5 to 7 minutes should pass, and we should already be here. This is how you know you are pacing well. If you're within 5 to 7 minutes done with this section, and we're over here, and not just for the sake of getting it done in 5 to 7 minutes, for the sake of actually getting very good, very clear, very concise answers. Yeah, that is what I want. That is what I want you guys to get. If you do not get the answers that you want, you should not move on here because this is going to fall apart and you might as well just end the call because it's not going to close. It'll be very, very hard to bounce back from it. So now that we've done this section, let's move on as to how this connects with this. All right. So now we're in limiting beliefs. Well, why is it important for us to get the prospect's limiting beliefs? What are limiting beliefs? First of all, if you guys don't even know, limiting beliefs is what's getting in somebody's way of becoming the person that they want to be, of achieving the goals that they want to achieve, of doing what they want to do. Now, it's nothing physical. It's actually all mental. It's all in their mind. This is nothing tangible that is getting in their way physically. It's something that internally is holding them back from taking the necessary actions that they need to take to get to where they want to get to. Okay? Now, you'll understand now, why do we need to get a time frame? Because the time frame exists because there's a limiting belief. If they've been stuck at something for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, well, that's because there is a limiting belief getting in their way of achieving that. Yeah, so the time frame exists because there's a limiting belief. With no limiting belief, there's no time frame. So that's very, very important to know. So now, mid-discovery, cool. So they just told us how long they've been stuck in their current situation, or how long they've been wanting to change their current situation, or how long they've been wanting to achieve time, freedom, or flexibility. Yeah. So since they gave us a time frame, whether it's 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, just thinking like a regular human, we need to understand, well, why? Why hasn't it happened? Why have we still been stuck in this situation? What's gotten in our way of fixing it? How do we let it get to that point? So this is why I give you guys a bunch of different questions to ask. So let's say I've been wanting to lose 50 pounds for 3 years. Cool. Why hasn't it happened yet? Or why are we still 250 pounds instead of 200? Or 3 years, how do we let it get to this point? Or what's gotten in our way of achieving what's gotten in our way of losing 50 pounds? What's gotten in our way of changing that? These are all different questions we can ask. This is non-confrontational, okay? If you guys think it's confrontational, it's not. It's just you problem solving. Your job is to solve a problem, okay? I like to say we're not sales reps, we're not closers, we're problem solvers. If you think of yourself that way, you see yourself in that perspective, then you come in with the right intentions on your calls of actually wanting to help your prospects, actually wanting to fix their problems, because they're on a call with you because there is a problem that is currently existing. If there is no problem, no pain, there is no close. So they're all there for one specific reason, is because something is not serving them in their current life and they want to change it. That is it. Yeah? So now that we asked this question, and we are now going to try to get to the limiting belief as quickly as we can. Well, we're not going to try, we are. It's going to go one or two ways here. So it's going to go external or it's going to go internal. Now, what does this even mean? Well, external is when the prospects put all the responsibility of their lack of action on outside factors, anything but them. Yeah. So they'll say something like, I didn't have the time. I didn't have the money. I was busy raising my kids. Life got in the way. The economy is bad. We're in a recession. I didn't know what to do. These programs look like a scam. I think this said, I didn't know these opportunities exist. These are external factors. Now, are they valid? No, absolutely not. They are not valid. We are not going to accept these reasons. So, where we want to take the conversation is to get them to go from this to internal, where they'll say something like, I was afraid of starting. I've been hesitant about these opportunities. There's these voices in my head. What if it doesn't work? I'm afraid of failing. I want it to be risk averse. It's too risky. I've been getting in my own way. This is exactly where we want to take the prospect, to internal. This is them taking responsibility as to why they're stuck in their current situation. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys have a tough time taking it from here to here. Okay. And that's simply because, well, you're not listening. You are justifying their excuses. Perhaps you're listening to your own excuses in your own life. If these are excuses that you're giving yourself every single day, good luck challenging your prospects on it. Because if you even try doing that and you're not congruent with your own actions, you are not only lying to your prospect, but you're lying to yourself. And you're not going to believe in your words. You're not going to believe in what you say and how you say it. It's going to come from a place of asking a question for the sake of asking it, as opposed to coming from a place of actually helping the prospect. Okay. I never give myself these excuses. Okay. As soon as I overcame these external excuses and I started taking full responsibility for my lack of actions in my own life, whether it was a gym, business, money, relationships, whatever it is, this is where everything started changing for me. This is where my confidence started building, because I had to be congruent with what I said and what I did. And because I am that person, I have all the leverage in the world to challenge my own prospects on these things. Okay. This is why I say closing, fuck this framework for a second. Closing is about congruency, at least in high ticket sales. All right. Can't speak the same about insurance, tech sales, all these other things. But for high ticket sales in the info space, being the person that you expect your prospects to be is very, very important. Holding yourself and holding your prospects to the same standard and following that standard is one of the most important factors of what makes you a great closer. It's because you've been through these experiences, you've lived through them, you've overcame difficult obstacles, you've put your back against the wall, you've done all these things. So now, because you've lived through those experiences and you overcame them, you are now in a position to lead somebody else to do exactly the same. And that is what we're doing on these calls. It's very, very important to know. So now you're probably asking, well, how do we take it from this to this? Well, there's a lot of reframes we can use. This is where you need to have reframes in the back of your head ready to go. Okay. You know that people can become resourceful, so that's not valid. You know, people don't lack the time, they make the time, they prioritize the time. Life always gets in the way, right? It's how we overcome it. It's what we do. When life does get in the way, that's what makes us leaders, that's what makes us who we need to be. The economy is bad. Well, we're all in the same economy. There's still people succeeding in whatever economy we're in. We're in a recession. Same rules apply. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but during administrations, I'm not going to get into politics, but during administrations where people say it's so bad and everything's worse and gas prices and all these things, I ended up making a lot of money. So I don't know how that was a factor. It didn't apply to me because I didn't let it be an excuse. I didn't know what to do. Well, when we don't know what to do, we get resourceful. We reach for outside help. Have we done that? Why not? These programs look like a scam. Scam, what does scam mean? Scam can mean a million different things to a million different people, right? People like to throw this word around. Fuck, I can't talk. Don't cut this shit out, editors. I want them to see me mess up. This can mean a million different things, right? So these prospects like to throw these words around and they don't even know what it means. So I like to get clarity on that. What does a scam mean? Scam, like, oh yeah, they were pressuring me to do something. They were charging me money for their services. Okay, do you charge money for your services? Well, yeah. Well, does that make you a scam? No. Like they could say anything, right? So let's get clarity. This last one said, I didn't know these opportunities exist. I'm pretty sure that's what I said here. Yeah. All right, cool. See, we're getting better at technology, guys. Okay. Well, these opportunities don't show up on your doorstep. Yeah. It's like the way you found us, the way you found this opportunity is the way these other opportunities have been there. So aside from these excuses, what do you feel like has gotten in our way of taking action? Or why do you feel like we're still not in our end goal? Now, they will either keep giving us more excuses, we'll keep externalizing. At that point, we keep handling it, we keep reframing it, we keep showing them how that way of thinking isn't supporting their goals. Eventually, they're going to break, and we're going to get into internal, where they start taking responsibility, where they tell us things like, I was afraid of starting, what if it doesn't work, afraid of failure, those kind of stuff. Great. So now we are getting one step closer to the fear. Cool. Why do we want to get into the fear? Why is that important? Okay. The reason why getting to the fear is very, very important, and honestly, it's going to be one of the most important parts of your call. I know I say that for a lot of things, but they're all important. But the reason why getting to the fear is very, very, very important is because that is the biggest reason your prospects don't buy. All the objections you get, all the reasons you don't close a call, every single objection you can think of right now that your prospects have given you, all comes from fear. Unless like they're broke and logistically can't do it. But other than that, it's all because of fear. Whether they doubt themselves, they doubt you, they doubt the opportunity, whatever it is, there is a level of fear and uncertainty getting in their way. And that is why this time frame exists. This time frame right here, it exists because there's fear holding them back. All right. Now, how do we get to the fear? So now they went internal. Okay. They told us all these things. Well, let's get clarity on what these things mean. This isn't good enough to us. This is not good enough for us to get into the fear and get into the limiting belief. So let's get clarity. Let's understand how their thought process works. Let's understand how their brain is holding them back from taking action. So now we're on the same side as them, like we're problem solving together. That's what we're doing. So we are problem solving as to how the fear, how these limitations are getting in their way. So here's how I do it. This is a bunch of different ways. I was afraid of starting. How come? I've been hesitant. What made you feel hesitant? Well, there's these voices in my head. Well, what have these voices told you? Then they'll explain. What if it doesn't work? Well, why wouldn't it work? I'm afraid of failing. Why would you fail? I want it to be risk averse. It's too risky. Well, it makes you say it's risky. I've been getting in my own way. How so? Now that we've asked these questions, we are now going to get so much clarity on what this means. This is exactly like how we're getting so much clarity on what these words mean, right? That's why we follow up here. So we're just doing the same exact thing in the call. Now they're going to go and explain how their thought process works, how their way of thinking works. This is now for you to understand, okay, well, here's what doesn't work. This is your way of thinking right now. And this is the reason you're on this call with me. This is the reason you do not have the goals that you want to achieve. This is the reason you are stuck in your current situation because of this thought process and this belief system. Okay. Our job now is to help them understand that these limitations are all in their head. It's strictly just holding them back. It's keeping them paralyzed. It's keeping them stuck. It is taking away everything that they want to achieve. This is now where we have to be a leader. This is now where we have to be a problem solver and help the prospect understand, hey, it's all in your head. Like, let's go through this together. Yeah. Okay. I was afraid of starting. Okay. Well, what was it about starting that was scary for you? I don't know. It's my first time doing something like this. Yeah. And it's kind of like everything else we do for the first time. They're all scary. A lot of people avoid starting because it's scary. Some know that despite it being their first time doing something, they could still be successful. Like, walk me back to a time where you did something for the first time. It ended up working out. You proved to yourself they were capable. What was that like? They can give you an experience. You can tell them on, was it worth it? Yes. What made it worth it? Well, this was worth it. Cool. So what does that tell you about the fear? That it's false. It's incorrect. Our job, here's the best way I can explain this. Our job is to feed doubt into the fear. Feed doubt into the fear being incorrect, into being improper, into being the not correct way of thinking. Okay. So that is how we're doing it. We are feeding doubt into the fear. We are proving the fear to just be facade, a lie, not true, in their head. Okay. Fuck is this? Cool. So let's go to the next one. I've been hesitant about okay. So what is it about these opportunities that made you hesitant? And then they could say anything. And then we handle it. There's these voices. What are these voices in your head telling you? Oh, that I can't do it, that I'm not experienced enough. Well, what makes you say that? Well, I've never done it before. Or people have always told me I can't do it. Where are those people? Are they where you want to be, or are they where you don't want to be? Well, they don't. You could say anything. What if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does work? If we use language like, what if it doesn't work? Does that support the goals that we have for our future? Does that language support what we want to achieve for our future? I'm afraid of failing. Why would it fail? Because it's saturated. I see a lot of people doing it. Yeah. And I mean, that tells us that it's a good business to get into, number one. Number two, if that was the case, well, how are all these restaurants successful? Because there's thousands of them wherever you live. What else? All these banks, all these tech companies, how are they successful? There's so much competition. Do you feel like they embrace the competition, or do they run away from it? I want it to be risk averse. Okay, well, how come? Because I have a family and I work so hard for them. I don't want to lose it. Well, what are we losing by not taking risks? What do we don't have because we're risk averse? In what way is that serving them? In what way is that serving you? So now we're just helping them understand the fear is the only thing in their way right now of becoming the person that they want to be, doing what they want to do. Yeah, so this is how we get clarity on it. Cool. So that's what we just did. We uncovered limiting belief, we uncovered the fear, and we got clarity on the fear. Now, one thing I actually forgot to note here is I like to say there's 2 to 3 levels to a limiting belief. What I mean by that, so there's level 1, there's level 2, and there's level 3. So level 1 will typically be the prospect would say, I got comfortable. Cool. We are not going to challenge the prospect on getting comfortable. People are comfortable. As a result, they procrastinate. And people procrastinate because there's fear. In their mind, it's less scary to delay it, so that's what they're going to do. It's scarier to not delay it, so that's why they're going to procrastinate. So now, they say they're comfortable. Well, we want to take that into procrastination, because that's what happens when people stay in their comfort zone. So what's behind, you staying comfortable? Like, why do you feel like that happened? They'll explain why. Okay, got it. So it sounds like we've kind of been procrastinating. Yeah. Why do you feel like that happens? We will get to the fear. Fear is level 3. There's 3 levels of limitations. That's how I like to break it up. Fear is level 3. We need to get to level 3 so that we can challenge our prospects. If we challenge them on staying comfortable, this part is going to be weaker. Okay, the rest of this call is going to be weaker. If we just challenge them on procrastination, which would say is like level 2, well, this is also going to be weaker. It's not good enough. It's good, and it might get you throughout the call. It might get you to a close, but it's not good enough for us. So I want to get to the fear. If I don't get to the fear, I'm not moving on. Unless it's like, all right, I've tried everything I could possibly do, and it, but that's what it is. It's fear. 10 out of 10 times, that is what holds a prospect back, unless they're broke. It's fear. So let's get to the biggest reason the prospects don't close as quickly as we possibly can. This is how we don't have to handle objections for 30 minutes to an hour. This is how the prospects don't flood us with questions at the end of the call. So if you don't want that happening on your calls, you bet your ass, you better get good at all this stuff. Okay? So now that we've reframed the fear, we help them understand that the fear is all in their head. It's just in their mind. It's not tangible. It's the only thing getting in their way of being who they need to be. Now, to make it impactful, much more impactful, is helping them understand the consequence of the fear. So we're going to go into 2 sections here. We're going to go into the past, and then we're going to go into the future. So we're going to go into the past first to help them understand what the fear has already cost them, what it's cost them over the last time frame. Right here. What it's cost them over the last time frame, over the last 1 year, over the last 2 years, 3 years, however long it's been. So different ways you can say it. A way I say it is if we look at these last 3 years of being risk averse and not believing in ourselves and letting that fear control us, whatever it is that you decide to say, what do you feel like that's cost us already? They will say, and whatever it is that it's cost them is most likely the goals that they want for themselves. And because we got so much clarity on their goals and what it means to them and why it's important to them, it's easier for them to give us a great answer on what the fear has already cost them, because we've already taken them through that journey. So the fear has cost me the ability of spending time with my kids, driving them to school, tucking them into bed, not being able to see them as much as I want to throughout the week. It's cost me a lot of money, because if I started sooner, I would have made a lot more money. I wouldn't be in this spot. I would be in a different place. Cool. Now they told us what it's already cost them. So now we are adding a lot of impact into the fear. We are putting the fear as the only thing, the only obstacle as what's gotten in their way. We're making it like the worst thing in the world, because it is. Fear is the worst thing that can hold you back from being who you need to be. It will keep you paralyzed if you let it control you, or you can use it to your advantage and overcome it, and it'll allow you to become the best possible version of yourself. I tell you this from experience. Cool. So they told us what the fears cost them. Now we are going to consequence them into the future. If they continue to hold on to the fear, what will it cost them over the next 3 to 5 years, or whatever the time frame is? Great. So now if we continue to hold on to this fear and we let it control us, we let it keep us stuck and paralyzed for the next 3 years, for another 3 years, what does that look like for you? Or what are the ramifications of that? Or what happens then? So now they're going to tell us, well, here's what's going to happen if I don't take action. Here's what's going to happen if I continue to let it control me and get in my way. So all I'm doing is I'm just consequencing them on their own limiting beliefs. Okay? So they could say, well, my kids are going to grow older and I'm not going to spend enough time with them. I'm not going to build a relationship with them. My wife is going to grow distant from me. I'm going to be stuck in this paycheck to paycheck cycle. I'm going to get more and more frustrated with my job. Now we can get more clarity on that. Why that concerns them. Why that isn't serving them. Okay. And like, when you say it would be frustrating if you're still in your job, like frustrating is a powerful word. What makes you say that? Well, it means this, this, and this. Now they're going to give you more clarity. Did you guys notice how much clarity we're getting in these conversations now? The more clarity we have, the better answers we get. The better answers we get, the better questions we can keep asking. Onwards and onwards. It's like a domino effect. That is why it's super important. This is how we avoid vague language. This is how we avoid feeling stuck, not knowing where to take the call. Cool. How will those impact those around you? You know, if you're risk averse by letting this fear control you, what standard are you setting for your kids? What standard are you setting for your wife? What standard are you setting for yourself as a man, as a husband, as a father? So many things you can say here. There's a million different directions you can take this. This is where I need you guys to be creative, to be present, to be socially aware, and actually listen to what your prospects are telling you, because that is where your questions are going to come into play. That is where your questions are going to be formulated, with what your prospects are telling you. That is why I don't give you a script or what to say here. Cool. So now that we've done that, what we've done up until this point in these first 2 sections is we help the prospect understand why their current situation isn't serving them, how they let it get to that point, and how they have fear holding themselves back from achieving their goals and where they want to be. So now we've done everything in their current situation. Now, for a person to change, for a person to step into a new direction, for a person to overcome themselves and get out of their own way, a very, very important topic that will help them in doing so is having them see the future version of themselves, having them see the best possible version of themselves, the version of them that has everything that they want, the version of themselves that has accomplished everything they wanted to, that has become the person that they wanted to be. If you're 100 pounds overweight and you want to get a 6-pack, you need to like visualize it, right? You need to like see who is the person that I want to be. How does that person take action? Yeah. So now it leads us into here. How does this person take action? What is their belief system? What is their way of thinking? Do they still operate with the fear? Yeah, that is going to be very, very important here. Okay. So when your prospect is able to see these things, they're able to visualize how the best version of themselves that has already done what they needed to do, how they move, how they act, how they decide, how they believe. And when they see it, when they visualize it, it's so much easier for them to step into that version and follow through with it and take action and buy the program and get out of their own way and not give you objections. That is what this does. Now, again, you cannot get into this if you don't have this, if you don't have this, if you don't have this. That is why I put all these things exactly where I did. Okay? So, who came up? I think Tony Robbins. Was it Tony Robbins? Yeah, Tony Robbins came up with this term. I forgot what it's, something patterns. Yeah, where he helps those people understand their future self achieving all these things and how it makes them feel, how they view themselves, all that stuff. That's why it's very important. So I use this in pretty much all my calls. Now, the version of you that has already achieved these XYZ goals and can do these things, how do they operate compared to your current self? Well, that version of me, they take action. Well, why do they take action? What is their belief system around taking risks? Do they avoid it? Do they embrace it? Do they run away from it? No, they embrace it. They know that even if they fail, they keep trying over and over again. What makes you say that? Well, because that is what the most successful people operate like. That is what you need to do to succeed. Their way of thinking, whatever it is, that's held them back. Do they put responsibility on all these programs? Do they think there is some magical potion that can save them? No, they have enough confidence in themselves that they're going to make it work. So they take action anyways. Well, what makes you say that? Why do you say that? Why do you believe that? Now they're going to sell us on why this is the correct way of thinking. So what they did earlier, they sold us on why the incorrect way of thinking just doesn't work. Now they're selling us on why the correct way of thinking does work, why the correct way of thinking will get them to where they want to be. Does the version of you that has done this, this, and this, and has become this, this, and this person, do they operate with the limiting belief? Do they let fear hold them back? Do they let uncertainty get in their way? Do they hesitate when they want to take a risk? No. Cool. Now this is like, you don't have to ask this question. I like to ask it. I got it from my mentor, Kurt. It's really important. I like to say, well, so what do we need to let go of so we can start accomplishing what we set for ourselves? What is the biggest limiting belief that we need to let go of together so that you can start to become this person from here on out? They will say the fear, the uncertainty, the hesitation, right? Anything in the scope of fear and uncertainty is important. Great. So now that they've sold us on what is the correct way of thinking, what is the correct belief system, what is the correct way of taking action, now we're going to help them visualize what it looks like for them when they start operating this way, when they start taking action this way, when they start thinking this way and letting go of the fear. So again, there's a million different questions we can ask. I just put a few that I typically use in my calls. When you've let go of the fear and you're now able to be present with your kids and create these memories together with them, and your relationship with your wife gets better, how would you view yourself differently as a man? How would your kids view you? What kind of example would you be setting for your kids as they grow up? What kind of example are they now able to follow? How would your wife view you knowing that you've overcame yourself and your own limitations and your own obstacles? How would you trust your decisions going forward and taking these risks again and again and again? So now they're selling us on how great it is to be in this state of thinking, in this belief system. Yeah. So now it seems unreasonable. Like this is the person that they want to step into, right? This is the person that they need to step into to do what they need to do and accomplish what they want to accomplish. So now this inevitably just pre-handles all the possible objections that you can throw under the sun. You should get it to a point where it seems unreasonable for them to give you an objection. You should be going through the call and asking yourself, like mentally, does it make sense for me to get this kind of objection? Does it make sense for me to get this kind of objection? If so, like, let's fucking fix it right then and there. But if not, then you know that you're on the right track and you were following this framework correctly. Great. So now they sold us on how great it is to be in this state of mind. Now we're almost done. We're pretty much at the end of the call. At this point of the call, we should be at I'd like to say minute 20, 25, 15. If you've done a really, really good job, very, very efficiently, that would be even better. I find myself at around minute 20 to 25 in this section. All right. Now, that means we can pitch 5-10 minutes, minute 35, close logistics, minute 40, 45. We can finish the call in under an hour, which is great. Imagine you do that 5 times a day. You're not even taking 5 hours worth of calls. Obviously, it's not going to be that way. Some calls go longer than others, but this makes it way less draining for you. This makes it exciting to take more calls. This is how you don't get burnt out while taking calls, is doing it efficiently. So now, before I like to pitch on my calls, there is this tie down. Shout out Kurt for this. This really helped me a ton. It kind of just ties everything we've said in this entire call. It ties all of it in a bow with a nice red ribbon on it. And this is like the final tie down as to making sure we don't get an objection at the end. Because let's be honest, none of us likes getting objections. If you had the opportunity to not have to handle objections for 30 minutes to an hour and instead just have the prospects pay you at the end, would you take the opportunity? Absolutely. If you say, no, I wouldn't, you're lying. So what I like to ask before the pitch is something along the lines of, well, when it comes to making these decisions where everything we've now said, we have to align our actions with it, that fear can come back in your mind. Those voices in your head, those thoughts telling you it's not going to work. What if it's too good to be true? What if I fail? Whatever it is that the prospect told you, they can all come back in your mind and hold you back. How can we make sure this time around, though, that we're not going to let it hold us back? Or what are we going to do differently this time around so that we don't let the limitation hold us back, the fear hold us back, the uncertainty hold us back, the fear of it not working out hold us back? What is it that we're going to do differently this time around? How can we make sure together as a team that we're not going to let it control us? So I just gave you 5 different ways of how you can say it. Then they could say something along the lines of, well, instead of listening to those thoughts, I'm just going to take action. Instead of letting those voices control me, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm just going to go. I'm not going to hesitate this time. I'm just going to go and just take action and believe in myself and trust myself and tell myself that it's all going to work out. It's all going to be okay. Great. If they told you one of those answers, awesome. You're in a good spot. You're in a very, very, very good spot for the close. So now we're going to pitch. This is where we ask them, great. Can I hold you to that standard? Yes, you can hold me to that standard. Awesome. Can I challenge you to hold yourself to that standard? Yes, absolutely. Great. So would you like our help? Absolutely. Awesome. Now we're going to go through the pitch. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over this. There's 3 pillars. I like to say there's a foundational aspect, there's the mentorship, and then that's the part where you help them scale their business. Those are typically the 3 pillars I like to go through in my pitch. This can be anything for you on your offer, whatever it is that you're selling. Just make sure it makes sense. Make sure they could see like how they start, how they progress, how they get to eventually the level that they want to get to and pass it and more, right? So explain to them the problems that people currently face and the solution you provide throughout these 3 pillars. All right, that's all I'm going to cover throughout the pitch. Then I like to, once I'm done pitching, I will ask them if they have any questions. They'll ask me a few questions. I'll answer them. Maybe based on the questions they're asking me, I could kind of tell if an objection is coming. If they're still uncertain, then I could just handle it right then and there. This is how we prevent payment dippers from happening. Nobody likes doing this whole call and then getting hung up on. I hated it. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun. So that's why I want to do it right. Cool. So they'll ask us questions. Great. Now I like to get certainty before I price drop. This is just to confirm on how they feel. Do they believe that what we do can help them? Are they confident they can take action and do great? So a bunch of different questions you can ask. I typically like to say, with what we've went over together, do you believe that what we do can get you to XYZ goal? Or are you confident that what we do can get you to XYZ goal? They'll say yes. You'll ask why and have them sell you on why they're certain. Oh, because you guys do this, 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 and that. This is really helpful. I believe this will help me. Okay, cool. Now that's 50% of the battle. The other 50% is your certainty in yourself to make this work. Are you confident in your own ability that by taking this risk or by going all in or by taking this leap that you will succeed? Yes. Why? Why do you say that? What makes you say yes? Because I'm confident, nothing can get in my way. I know that if I don't take action, nothing's going to happen, so I might as well do it. Now they're selling to you on why they should take action. Awesome. Now we're in a very, very good spot. So now the only thing that's left is the price drop. I like to price drop at the end. I used to price drop in the beginning. Is there a right way to do it? Is there a wrong way to do it? Not really. I've closed millions of dollars price dropping in the beginning. I've also closed millions price dropping at the end. This is just what suits me more. This is what makes it more of a flow. And yeah, I don't know, just works better for me now. So then once I got that, I'll be like, cool. So the next steps from here is we'll get you onboarded. We'll get you access to everything we went over. We'll then go over the tuition, and then we'll get you going on the right path towards that XYZ goal, whatever it is. Sound good? Yes. Awesome. So the full tuition is price drop, 5K, 10K, whatever it is. There's different ways we can go about it. We can do debit, credit, Visa, MasterCard. How would you like to go about it? Now, a lot of you guys, when you price drop, is you'll keep fucking talking, which pisses me off. You have to explain, well, and we can do these payment plans, and if you need, we can break it up, and we can do this, and we can do this, and we can do that. That just makes it, you're just bringing objections into the call. You're making it sound like a very, very scary thing when it doesn't need to sound that way. The prospect is already operating in fear. So this is now where I need you to be a leader. This is now where I need you to lead them to the close, to lead them into making a decision and taking action. So treat it that way. All right. If they ask for a payment plan, great. We can figure out why they're asking for a payment plan and if they actually need one. But if they don't need a payment plan and they can pay in full, that is the best case scenario for us. Okay. So when you ask this question, they're either going to say how they want to take care of it, or they're going to ask if you have payment plans, and then you can figure out why they're asking you that, or they're just going to give you an objection. At that point, we can handle it. And guess why we're able to handle it? Because we have the right to handle it. We have the leverage to handle it. We have done everything we've needed to do here, where even if we do get an objection, which by the way, I still get them, even if we do get an objection, it becomes so much easier for us to handle it because we have all the leverage, all the challenges, all the identity shifting, all that stuff. It's all on the table. There's nowhere for them to run. There's nowhere for them to hide. Most of the times, they won't even give you an objection. Even better, they'll just pay. That is the best case scenario. That is where we want to get it to. Yeah? So this part, I need you guys, a lot of you guys are just very passive, very reactive, putting this too much into the prospect's hands. I need you guys to to really lead here. I really need you guys to do a great job leading at this part, or else forget you did any of this, right? So all these parts go hand in hand. They're all important. If you do it right, it's going to work great. You will notice massive differences in your calls, in your questions, in your responses, how you feel before a call, after a call, how your prospects feel. Are they going to thank you at the end? You'll notice if the prospects thank you for helping them get out of their own way, you know you've done a great job. After I close them, I typically like to ask, how did you feel about this call? Was this call helpful in any way? Why was it helpful? They'll tell me this was the best call they've ever had. No one has ever talked to them this way. No one has ever challenged them this way. It's such a great feeling. It's just like, it makes you feel so great about selling and helping somebody and help them overcome themselves and their own limiting beliefs. It's selling with the right intentions. And this is how you do it long term. This is how you can do this for years and years on end and never get tired of it, never get bored and burnt out. And that's it. That's really it. That's what makes it so powerful. That's what makes it so impactful. Now, some of you guys might see this and try to rip it. I really don't care, because how you deliver this is all up to you. I'm simply just guiding you on where I like to lead my conversations. It works really well for me. It works really well for my students. So I'm giving it to you guys away for free, full breakdown. I really have nothing to hide. So if you do this right, you do a good job at it, then you will see the difference on your calls. You will see massive difference in your numbers, your close rate, everything that I just went over. So if you're going to do it right. If you tell me that you tried it and I see that you did a terrible job at it, then don't even bother using it. Use somebody else's fucking framework. All right. So that's it. That's the full breakdown. This is the full breakdown. Hope this was helpful. Go implement it, or else I'll kick you in the face.